I've decided that Kevin's next wife will be this girl. What? I couldn't believe my ears. Next wife? What exactly do you mean? When I asked her this, my mother-in-law looks annoyed. You really are slow, aren't you? In other words, we don't need you anymore. Your time is up. What do you mean by my time is up? I don't expect you will be able to have children anymore, will you? That's why this young lady is going to be my son's new wife. My name is Mary, and I'm a 34 years old office worker. I have a husband named Kevin. I met him on a blind date, and he's 6 years younger than me. So naturally, I thought he wouldn't be interested. However, at the time, Kevin said, I've fallen in love with you. I don't care about our age difference. And he was very expressive about his love. I fell in love with his passion and decided to go out with him. From then on, we had a steady relationship and we eventually got married. However, the process of getting married was a little difficult. We went to see each other's parents right away, but his mother, Barbara, was against our marriage because of our age difference. Normally, a 34-year-old woman would already be married and have children. Is there something wrong with you? Is that why you're still single? What are you talking about, Mom? Don't be rude. Oh, but it's important to talk about things like this. You're our only child, and you have to choose who you marry carefully. She spoke about my age and how I've been single for so long, and all these things that I'm conscious of. Then her husband George steps in. Stop it. Kevin chose her, so we have no right to object, he says. Mary, I'm sorry for what my wife just said. Thanks to George's warning, Barbara becomes silent. Now that we have received their approval, we move forward with the marriage. However, although Barbara gave her consent, she still did not approve of me. My husband's family is a landowner who is very well known in the area. Barbara is very proud of this matter. As this is the kind of family he has, Kevin was spoiled growing up, but he isn't at all selfish, and I actually really like his gentle and warm personality. However, many issues come up during our engagement. Barbara suddenly calls me over and introduces me to the woman of the neighborhood, saying I should get myself known. Apparently, because of her position as landowner, Barbara is a representative of the local women's community and seems to be the leader of the group. I do as I am told and greet everyone in the community. They all greet me back and whisper, "Good luck," in my ear. They are probably referring to Barbara. Apparently, those in the women's community are not very fond of her either. Finding out that I have allies, I'm a little relieved. Barbara tells me to get a bridal checkup before the marriage and to find out whether I am capable of getting pregnant. I'm a little taken aback by this comment, but it is true I may become sorted into the advanced age childbirth category, and to be honest, I do want to know whether I'm able to become pregnant, so I decide to take the test. I go to a clinic and the doctor tells me that I'm perfectly capable. Believing this means Barbara will allow us to get married, I tell her the result, but she just said coldly, "Oh really? You're the one who told me to take the test." I think angrily, but I hold back. Maybe she was expecting a bad outcome. Did she think she could call off the marriage if she found out I couldn't have children? I continued to spend restless days like this, and the day before the wedding, Barbara calls me over again. She wants us to come over to eat dinner with her. To be honest, I wanted to have dinner with my own parents before the wedding, but they say, if you're being invited to their house, you should go. So Kevin and I decide to go to his parents' house. After we finished both dinner and dessert, Barbara starts to say, About your moving in together. I couldn't believe my ears. The phrase moving in together came out of nowhere. I don't mind if you move in with us right after the wedding. Apparently, in Barbara's mind, there was no doubt that we would live together. No way. She's got to be kidding. I couldn't have my life as a newlywed suddenly be interrupted. I swiftly stepped into the conversation. Barbara, I'm sorry. What do you mean, moving in? I don't know what to say. That's too much to think about before we're even married. With this, Barbara looks surprised. She looks at me as if what I'm saying is crazy. Kevin, haven't you told her yet? Huh? I panic and look at my husband. Then, remaining perfectly calm, he says, Oh yeah, I think I forgot. What? What do you mean? Mom and I have been talking about it for a while now, that we would move into this house once we got married. Wait a second. You've never said anything about this. Something this important. This is the sort of thing that we should have discussed and decided together ages ago. Sorry, but it's decided. I want you to understand, Mary. What? No. Looking back, I should have called the marriage off at this point, but this was 2 years ago when I had just turned 32. I felt that if I let this go, I would never be able to get married again. Perhaps it was this impatience that led me down the wrong path. Well, he did propose to me, and I actually was excited at the thought of getting married. In the end, I agreed to live with Kevin's parents, but my life there was worse than I had imagined. First of all, there was barely any privacy, so it was impossible to have the lovey-dovey newlywed life that I had pictured. To add to this, Barbara would pick on me every time she saw me. Mary, you really do have a boring plain face, don't you? Kevin has a pretty face with beautiful eyes and lovely nose. But I'm so worried my grandchildren will look just like you. Your cooking and housework is average too. It really is a shame you have absolutely zero strong points. These sort of things happen every day. And because she is the kind of woman who requested I check whether I can have children, you can imagine how she would put pressure on me, asking when she could see her grandchildren. Do you even know how old you are? You have no time left, you know. If you can't have a baby, there's no need for you in this house. You better give birth to a boy. I am shocked to see someone making these comments in this present day, but I shrugged it off, thinking that their ways are probably rooted in tradition and they're a landowner after all. Barbara also nags me about my job, putting pressure on me and saying, When are you going to quit? I enjoy my job, and since I moved into this house, they gave me special permission to drive to work, so I can't inconvenience them by quitting. That's the one thing I won't compromise on. So I just let it slide no matter what Barbara says to me. But after a while, Barbara demands that I give her $1,000 a month if I won't quit my job. In other words, she wants me to put money into the house to cover my living expenses. Barbara hasn't asked Kevin to pay any rent or living expenses, but I guess she is angry for not getting her way with me, which is why she is making this request to me personally. Well, she had been letting me live there for free until then, so I agree and decide to pay her $1,000 a month. Well, you're just an office worker, so if I take this much money, you're not left with much to spend for yourself, are you? She says with an annoying smile on her face. Well, I'm not the type to spend much money in the first place. I use things until they break, so my life is pretty simple. Barbara must have seen this and thought I had no money, but for me, This isn't particularly rough at all. I'm much more stressed out by how she harasses me all the time. 2 years of life like this flies by. Now that I'm 34, not only Barbara, but Kevin also says, "Why can't you have a baby?" and blames it all on me. I didn't expect my husband to say such a thing, and I'm shocked. Since then, he continues to torment me alongside Barbara. I thought we loved each other, but after living with Barbara for 2 years, I think he has become somewhat brainwashed. If it was just Barbara, I could live with it. I believed that I had built an amazing relationship with Kevin, so his betrayal hits me really hard. As time goes by, Kevin and Barbara's actions become increasingly absurd. One day, when I come home from work, I go to the living room, and there I see a woman besides my parents-in-law and my husband. She looks younger than Kevin, maybe in her mid-20s. I wonder who she is. Barbara tells me to sit down. Once I take a seat, she suddenly said something unbelievable. "I've decided that Kevin's next wife will be this girl." What? I couldn't believe my ears. Next wife? What exactly do you mean? When I asked her this, my mother-in-law looks annoyed. "You really are slow, aren't you? In other words, we don't need you anymore. Your time is up." What do you mean by my time is up? "I don't expect you will be able to have children anymore, will you? That's why this young lady is going to be my son's new wife. She is 23 years old now, and she's the niece of one of our neighborhoods in the women's community. She's prettier than you, and I'm sure she will give birth to a cute and healthy little boy." What a woman. My husband and I are still married, but she brings along a new wife? Kevin will surely object to this. That's what I thought, but I was wrong. "That's why I want you to fill this in as soon as possible," he says, while handing me the divorce papers. I'm beyond shocked. I cannot believe it. Is having a child that important? My life will be ruined if I stay with these people. By the way, George, my father-in-law who made a warning toward Barbara before my marriage, he has been useless since then. He has never tried to get involved in any of these issues since we got married. Okay, I refill in the forms, I say, and I fill in everything necessary to get divorced. Barbara and Kevin are thrilled. I tell them we won't be going through property division. "Of course not. Why would Kevin give you any of his precious savings?" "That's right. Just because you've been relying on my income doesn't mean you can get carried away." I don't know what they are thinking, but this was what Barbara and Kevin say to me. Okay, I hope neither of you find out the truth. As simple as this, Kevin and I get divorced. I packed up my belongings and head back to my parents' house, where they are both in shock. I explain the situation, and they understand and say it is right of me to get divorced. They are a little angry that I didn't tell them earlier. After apologizing to my parents, I decided to look for an apartment where I can live by myself. I searched for a place near the office, and there are so many good options that it is hard for me to make a decision. A month passes after my divorce with Kevin, and suddenly, Kevin and Barbara arrive at my parents' house. Mary! What is going on?" "What are you doing here? I'm the one who wants to know what's going on." "It's this." Kevin shows me the photo he took of the TV. There I am, answering an interview. On the screen, they are showing the name of a restaurant with my name next to it, and the word owner written on the side. "Why? How on earth are you the owner of a restaurant? You're just an office worker, right?" "Oh, You saw the show yesterday. The office work is just for experience for opportunities in the future. As for the restaurant, we've been managing an old restaurant since my great-grandfather's generation, and my father opened a new place. I took his place 5 years ago, and I have been the owner ever since. After I graduated from college, I went to a nighttime culinary school and got my chef's license. So I worked at the office during the day, but in the evening and on weekends, I was a cook at my father's restaurant. At the moment, I'm preparing for a new business, so I leave the restaurant mostly up to the manager, but they wanted to interview the owner too, so I took the offer. Barbara and Kevin were shocked to hear my story. Well, they would be, wouldn't they? When Kevin's parents met my parents for the first time, my father told them about his restaurant, but they probably thought it was just a small diner. Barbara just said, "Oh, really?" and didn't seem to care any more than that. This is perfect. I didn't think you were earning so much money, but it's perfect for us. Huh? I'm canceling the divorce. Come back home right now. As Barbara and Kevin are making these incomprehensible statements, I ask, "What do you mean?" It seems the young girl who became Kevin's new wife does none of the housework, and she doesn't go out to work either, so she's always there at home doing nothing. She even calls Kevin old man and tells him if he wants to be intimate with her and if they are going to have children, she wants him to pay her. If he does anything to her by force, she is going to call the police. Kevin and Barbara look troubled. They further explain that the girl has been unemployed since graduating from high school, and her parents didn't know what to do with her. That's when the woman's community reached out to her family, telling them about a crazy man and the mother looking for a bride. This is how they introduced this girl to Barbara. Hearing this story makes me laugh. Barbara was not a leader at all. She was completely being made fun of. Learning that the woman of community thought she was dumb, Barbara seems truly embarrassed. That's why she wants me to come back as soon as possible, so that I can defend her and reclaim her position and reputation. As for my ex-husband, because his parasite of a wife uses all of his money as she wishes, he's living a tight life every month. And because she won't do the housework, of course she won't make lunch for him. So he has to spend the little money he has every day to buy lunch near his office. As for George, Kevin's father, who was always minding his own business, he left Kevin and Barbara quite some time ago and rented a cheap apartment on his own. He's living away from them and protecting his own little life. This sounds like exactly the sort of things George would do, and it makes me chuckle. "We're having a really rough time, so you have to come home," Kevin begs me. I try to stop myself from laughing, and I say these final words to him. "You do know this is all your own fault, right? You two ordered me to leave and brought that girl into your house. So why don't you be responsible for everything that happened after that? If you stay here any longer, I'm calling the police." Rejected. Kevin and Barbara droop their heads and leave my parents' house. I don't know what happened to them after that. But according to a lady from the women's community that I befriended while I was still married, it seems that life is so rough for the two of them that even Barbara has started working part-time. Kevin's new wife is still doing nothing except spending all her husband's money. They try to make her leave, but she has her ways to keep staying at their house, and it seems both Kevin and Barbara are completely exhausted. Serves them right. I finally find a new apartment and live in the room of my dreams. Single life is so pleasant that I feel like I don't need to get married anymore. But I still want to find romance, so I'm going to see what encounters I have in the future. For now, I'm more focused on my work. Kevin and Barbara are unbelievable. Kevin didn't even know his wife's main job. He really had no interest in her, did he? Maybe he only married her because he wanted a wife who could have children and would listen to his mother. In any case, I'm glad to hear that Mary has nothing to do with this stupid mother and son anymore. I hope she lives her own life and finds her own happiness. Thanks for sticking around until the end. Please subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed this video, and see you in the next one.
My name is Gracie. I am 27 years old. I am a housewife and an office worker with a position. My husband, Aaron, is the same age as me. I have a husband who adored his mother too much, and a mother-in-law who likes to bully me as her hobby. And even though there were ups and downs of our marriage, we just celebrated our second year of being a married couple. I am proud of how well I have been able to endure, and work has become my relaxation time. Thanks to this, I have received promotion after promotion and have been promoted to higher positions, which is unusual for a woman. I am in the middle of a business trip, traveling all over Europe for business meetings. Right now, I am also in the middle of a very important meeting. Then, something happened. As soon as the meeting started, my phone, set to silent mode, started vibrating. I thought it was an emergency call due to the 2 persistent incoming calls, so I checked my phone under my desk. The incoming call history is filled with my mother-in-law's name, Eliza. What? What in the world is going on? I hope nothing bad has happened. I was so surprised that I hurriedly decided to return the call. As I was able to leave the desk to return the call, I received another call from Eliza. Hello, Gracie, where are you right now? I tapped the call button on my phone, and at the same time, I heard a voice that sounded irritated. Ugh, maybe I shouldn't have picked up this phone call, I muttered to myself. Hello, Eliza. How are you doing today? Is there something urgent? Why aren't you answering me? I just asked where you are, Gracie. I was annoyed by her arrogance as usual, but I was in the middle of an important meeting. I didn't want to prolong the call by talking back, so I asked, Sorry, didn't Aaron tell you? I'm in a meeting on a business trip. Can I call you back as soon as I finish? I replied softly. To which she replied, Of course, Aaron told me. What are you doing, leaving your house and husband alone? Come back home immediately. Such a sudden and unreasonable demand as usual. I'm sorry, Eliza. I am just in the middle of an important meeting and I can't just... Then she interrupted me and said, You're so bossy, even though you're just a wife of Aaron. I don't care for your reasoning. Just come back home at this instance. Today is a very important day. Do you understand me? Eliza said, growing frustrated. Huh? Today is an important day? Since Eliza, who was reluctant to tell me why she was looking for me to come home, I asked her why today was such an important day. We're going to celebrate my 60th birthday today, Eliza replied in a smug voice. As I recall, her birthday was planned to be celebrated at the end of the month. It was a surprise to me that it was today, and to do it on a weekday during my business trip. My husband and I had told her that we found a nice restaurant and set up a table for her 60th birthday celebration. I was getting fed up with Eliza trying to bully me again. I thought that Eliza was getting meaner and meaner every year, tormenting me when she knew I was in the middle of important work, so I told her, as I said before, I'm on a business trip right now, so I can't come home right now. Oh, how funny, because I called Aaron earlier today and he said he would take the day off from work for me. Also, all of the relatives will be there. Only you, Gracie. Work, work, work. You're so cold. What do you think of your own husband's parents? If I let Eliza talk any longer, her sarcastic words would go on and on. Since I was still in the middle of the meeting, I couldn't stay on the phone with Eliza until the end. So I said, I'm sorry, but I can't go to your 60th birthday celebration no matter what you say. I informed her clearly. Eliza then stopped being sarcastic, took a deep breath, and said, Well then, I won't recognize you as family at all. You don't have to come back home at all. It's a divorce. Aaron was too good for you to begin with. All at once, without a pause for breath, Eliza threw horrible words at me. I was angry and upset with what she had said, but I didn't want to prolong the phone call with a rebuttal, so I said, Oh, yes, okay. I'll talk to you when I get home. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I have to leave. I said this in a simple manner. Then Eliza said, What's with that attitude? I told you not to come back. I'll talk to Aaron myself. As she said those words, she hung up on me. Tired from dealing with my mother-in-law, I returned to the meeting with a sigh. After 2 days and several meetings, I finally made my way home. On the way home, I was so filled with anger and frustration towards my mother-in-law that I could not remember where I had gone or how I had gotten back home. I am home! As I opened the front door and called out, then I heard, Welcome back. I heard my husband's voice, which sounded like he was exhausted. I took off my heels and went straight to the living room, leaving my luggage at the doorway to find a pile of cardboard boxes. Then, I saw my sweaty husband duct taping the boxes. What's with the boxes? When I asked him, Aaron told me that they were all of my belongings. From Aaron, I heard that Eliza had really held her 60th birthday celebration the day she called me without me. She told me that I, her daughter-in-law, had neglected Eliza's 60th birthday celebration, and that she had been treated arrogantly by me over the phone and so on. After that, she even told all of the relatives that she was going to make me get a divorce from Aaron and send me back to my parents' house because I was being a such cold wife who was not worthy of her son. Thinking that this sounded like something my mother-in-law would do, I asked Aaron, And then what happened? So your mother told you to get a divorce and you agreed to it? No, I didn't exactly agree to it, but she told me to pack up your stuff and I didn't have any other choice but to do so. What can I do about it? Aaron stopped putting duct tape on the boxes and answered in a slurred voice. What? Does that mean you didn't argue with your mother? Does that mean that you're okay with the idea of getting the divorce? Aaron said that his father, Alex, also told him, If Eliza gets in a bad mood, I'll have a hard time, so you better listen to what she has to say. So, he readily accepted the divorce. What in the world is he doing accepting the divorce so easily? What is it with Aaron's family? A father who is controlled by his wife and a son who adores and obeys his mother. No one seems to want to take my side. When I was dumbfounded and silent, he said, What my mother says is absolute. It's just until my mother's mood is back to normal and things cool down. Yes, it's just a sham. This divorce is a sham. I'll come for you when things cool down. He pleaded me with begging eyes. I want Aaron to use that eyes to his own mother. How is it that a big man like Aaron is so seriously afraid of his mother? Oh my gosh, there is no way in saving you. I almost felt self-loathing, wondering what was so good about this person that I had married him. But then I thought, wait a minute, maybe this is a good chance for me. To think about it, even if I stayed with Aaron, Eliza would just continue to torment me and always corner me into getting a divorce from Aaron. Then maybe I was very lucky to get a divorce from Aaron without much of trouble. And I have enough income to support one husband. Even if I have to live alone, I won't be lacking in anything. In an instant, I felt as if a fog cleared away in front of my eyes metaphorically. To Aaron, I said, "Fine. Then yes, let's get a divorce." As soon as I told Aaron that, I called Eliza. After 3 calls, "Hello?" Eliza answered, so I replied, "As you wish, we are getting a divorce," I told her quietly. Eliza, sounding as if she had been waiting for me, replied in a triumphant, bouncy voice, "Yes, please, please go away. Get out of Aaron's house. You finally figured out that you're not good enough for Aaron, didn't you? Ah, I am so relieved. Don't worry, I'll find Aaron an obedient, pretty, and parent-friendly wife this time. I'm sure Aaron will be in great demand. That's right. I'll take care of my son until he finds his next wife, so don't worry about that either." After finishing all the sarcasm she could think of, as if for the last time, I said to Eliza, "Well, don't misunderstand me, Mother," I casually advised her. Eliza, who was in a good mood no matter what, said, "Well, aren't you a sore loser?" "Well, don't mind me. Oh, yes, by the way, Gracie, I got the divorce papers from the city office and gave them to Aaron, so don't forget to sign them." Without a word of farewell, she hung up the phone. Aaron, who was listening to the conversation with Eliza, looked relieved. Is Aaron stupid? By the way, honey, does your mother know that you are a full-time house husband? When I asked Aaron, he replied, "How can I tell her that? My mother lives for the fact that I'm a member of the elite and work for a major company." He talked back to me with strong tone. Oh, that's right. Come to think of it, there were hints that he never told the truth to Eliza. Aaron always wears a shabby sweatshirt at home, but when he goes out to meet Eliza, Aaron goes out of his way to change into a suit. And during the day, he pretends that he is not at home when Eliza calls, giving her impression that Aaron is at work. Eliza said at her 60th birthday celebration that Aaron is a kind son who takes time off from work just to attend her 60th birthday celebration, and that if it was his status, he would find a more obedient and prettier wife than me in no time. I am sure that such things will naturally come to light once we get divorced, but to Eliza, who thinks her son is omniscient and smart, Aaron will never dare to say anything that he would disappoint her in the future. I don't think Eliza would have the faintest idea that her elite son quit his job at the major company. In fact, Aaron had quit his job about a year ago. Her elite son, who was a status symbol to Eliza, was now truly unemployed and a full-time house husband. Aaron quit his job because he made a big mistake that resulted in a written apology and a demotion and a pay cut. He probably didn't tell his mother about that incident, though. It seems that Aaron was quite shocked to have fallen off the smooth-sailing elite road. Since Eliza pampered and spoiled Aaron, he was very weak and sensitive. When Aaron had to write his report on the mistakes he made, he felt palpitations and nausea just trying to go to the office, and he couldn't even leave the house, let alone go to work. At first, Aaron called in to report absences and applied for paid holidays. But eventually, he stopped calling in and the number of unauthorized absence increased, and then he got fired from his job. Now, it seems that Aaron has no intention of finding another job, and he was depending heavily on my income. Aaron is still unable to tell Eliza this fact because he knew that Eliza will be very much angry and upset with him if he told her. I am a little disappointed that I can't see how Eliza will react when she finds out about the situation after I leave. I'm sure she will probably be shocked to the point of having a stroke, though. However, it's not my problem anymore. Aaron told me, "This is just a cover to convince my mother, okay?" He handed me the divorce papers, which I submitted immediately. Then I signed a contract for my new apartment and moved in as soon as possible. 1 month later, I received a phone call from my ex-mother-in-law, Eliza, whom I thought I had cut ties with. I wondered what she wanted to see me about now, but I answered, "What do you want from me now? Aren't you glad that you got rid of me?" As I answered sarcastically, she replied, "Well, you're still the same. Just listen to me." Eliza began to talk to me in the same tone as usual. It was about Aaron. After I left from the divorce, Eliza went to Aaron's apartment several times to do household chores, but whenever she went there, Aaron was just there hanging around in his room. There is no sign of him going to work. It didn't look like he was sick, so she asked me if I had any idea what was going on. I suppressed the urge to burst out laughing and replied, I see." I replied nonchalantly, "Well, of course he's like that. Because Aaron has no intention of working at all ever again." As if Eliza had forgotten that she was the one who had kicked me out, she asked, "Gracie, can you do something about it?" "Why should I? You didn't want me to be in your family and wanted nothing to do with me." She was so selfish to ask me for something only when it suits her, after having mistreated me for a very long time. Then she said, "Well, I was wondering if you said something to hurt Aaron before you left." I wondered how much she wanted me as the bad guy. Does this person not think that there's a problem with her son and not me? I'm the one who was hurt, you know. "Oh, really? You only married Aaron because you could live a luxurious life with him, right? So what is so hurtful about getting divorced?" Eliza looked at me as if I had married Aaron for his money. She should quit sleep talking. Huh? You must be joking me. I was the one who supported Aaron financially during our marriage. I was the one who provided for you. To tell you the truth, I couldn't afford to live extravagantly because of Aaron. I was fine with the divorce, but shall I file Aaron for alimony? Eliza couldn't believe what I said and said, "How dare you? Making up something like that. Gracie, you just forgot to ask for the alimony, didn't you? Aaron has a higher income and position than you. Don't be so unreasonable. If you just want money, Aaron can pay whatever you want. After all, Aaron is a super elite working for the major company." Eliza replied back with a crazy argument. Maybe Aaron hasn't told Eliza the truth yet. If so, I didn't want to tell Eliza about what Aaron is still hiding from her because it sounds like I'm just tattletaling, but it was a chance to see how Eliza would react when she found out about this situation. I thought it would be a good opportunity to get back at her, so I told her, "Your proud son's a full-time house husband. He quit his job a long time ago." "What? You are lying." Sure enough, Eliza could not accept my words. She raised her voice so loudly that I thought she might tear my eardrums. I took my phone away from my ear for a bit and said, "Why don't you check with the company anyway? You'll know who is telling the truth." Eliza became silent for a moment. "Well then, What if that's true, how are we going to live? I can't take care of my son with just my pension. And no one will marry my son because he is unemployed. What are we going to do? Her voice was obviously toned down, and it was working. My face was starting to grin. What shall we do? Eliza was silent again for a moment, then babbled something back and forth with the person who was beside her. Then she said, "Hey, Gracie, will you please come home?" I wondered what she was suddenly saying, but I said, "No, we're already divorced. I wouldn't come back to your family if heaven and earth turned upside down." Then I heard someone near Eliza making a fuss. "I told you that I would come get you back when things cooled down." I heard someone shouting. It seemed to be my ex-husband Aaron's voice. Yes, 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 yes. You could remarry my son again, you know." "What are you talking about?" "No way, I wouldn't do it for the world." "Don't joke about this, Gracie. Think it seriously, okay?" I made sure to remind her not to regret it the last time we talked on the phone, and I don't want to be involved with a son who loves his mother too much or have any more toxic mother-in-law relationship ever again. I did what you told me to do, so could you please stop changing your mind so much? But there's a bit of a verbal jousting thing going on here. It's not like you take my words this seriously. You've been talking back to me with a nonchalant look on your face no matter what I said, haven't you? I didn't think you'd actually divorce my son, you know. I guess Eliza didn't think I would refuse this offer so firmly. In response to Eliza's bitter excuse, I told her, well, I was just putting up with it. Besides, Aaron packed up my stuff and kicked me out without any of my say in it. I lashed out at her angrily, citing each of the things she had done to me. You see, that was just a prank. Yes, it was just a prank. When Eliza still tried to get away with it, I said to her, "Prank, huh? I think it's even worse than that." I was so fed up and with her that I knew there was nothing I could say to her. I looked down at my arm and saw my watch, which was about to turn 1 o'clock in the afternoon. My lunch break had been ruined by this futility. Eliza, are you done now?" As I called out to her, she said, "What? Gracie, what did you say?" She disgusted me with her sweetened voice. Did she think I would give her a good answer with just a sweet voice? Thinking that I would never live up to her expectations, I said, "I'm going to hang up now. I have another meeting in a few minutes. I have to look over some documents." As I took the phone away from my ear, but Eliza kept saying, Wait, Gracie. Hey, Gracie, say something." I could hear Eliza screaming. She also said, "Aaron, you didn't do it right, and this is what happened," and started to scold my ex-husband. In the end, Eliza probably blames others for everything that doesn't go her way. It made me sick just listening to her, so I mercilessly tapped the end call button and blocked her number. After that, "I want to come back to get you." Aaron contacted me like that. Since he was too persistent and it was a good opportunity, I asked my lawyer to compensate him for alimony. Aaron's family was maybe weak to lawyers, because they immediately paid the alimony in a lump sum. It seems that the money was advanced by my ex-parents-in-law. Because of this, Alex and Eliza were irritated with Aaron and told him every day to find a job and work, which Aaron is fed up with. I wonder where the former elites have gone. It seems that Aaron returned to his parents' house because he could not pay the rent of the apartment. Aaron blames his parents for making him divorced, and it seems that he is using up their pension and retirement savings. Like parents, like child. They seem to be blaming each other for each other's sins and refusing to reflect on their own actions. By the way, they're planning to go apply for welfare soon. I hope that the government will make an effort to correct Aaron's family's personalities while they still can, because it is impossible to be selfish with the government. As for me, my proposal at the business trip was accepted and a new major contract was signed. I have been promoted again with higher salary, and I am living a rich bachelorette's life without being tormented by any in-laws or being dependent on my salary from a family member. If I ever have the opportunity to get married again in the future, I would definitely do a background check carefully to avoid a husband who loves his mother or to avoid crazy in-laws. Amy, I hope you can do something about the food. It's not very good. What do you mean it's not very good? I'd like you to make me better bread. And they sell better oven to bake bread nowadays. Fine then. I will tell the housekeeper, Emanuela, about this. I am Amy Anderson, and I'm 35 years old. I am currently a full-time FX trader at home. I met my husband Eric, who is 2 years older than me at my previous work. First time, when we met, we were working for a small mail order company. My husband was in the pet food department and I was in the cosmetics department answering the phone calls from customers. Our company habitually flouts labor regulations, so we worked overtime every day and almost always got home the next day. We always looked forward to going out for a drink once a week after overtime with some of the same group of coworkers. Back then, when we worked overtime every day, we had nothing to look forward to, even though we had a high salary due to many overtime. We had no time to spend, and the only thing we looked forward to was going out for drinks to relieve our unfulfilled feelings. I started dating my husband, who was a member of that group, and we got married 3 years ago. I quit my job when I got married and stayed at home for a while, but then started looking for a job I could do at home. I came across FX, bought a lot of books about it, gathered a lot of information on the internet, studied a lot, and started FX trading. And here I am today. Of course, it took me some time and it was not easy to earn money as I do now at the beginning. I bought my computer specifically for FX trading, opened a trading account, studied FX trading for several months and repeated demo trades for practice and traded with small amounts at first. I managed to develop my own style of trading FX and started earning consistently while continuing to study FX trading for a long time after that. However, my parents-in-law, Nicholas and Julia, who lived with me, didn't understand my work. Last year, Nicholas, my father-in-law, retired. Nicholas and Julia were living in municipal housing, but my husband invited them to live with us in our 3-bedroom apartment because Eric thought it would be difficult to live on their pension alone. I pay the rent for the apartment we live in. We were able to make a living thanks to my husband's salary from his work when I started FX trading. However, I have been paying the rent and all of the living expenses ever since I started earning money through FX trading. Dad, Mom, Amy will take care of the living expenses too, so feel free to do whatever you like. Thank you, Amy. That is very kind of you, Amy. And that is how I started living with Eric's parents. I don't do any of the housework myself. My housekeeper, Emanuela, does all of the housework for me. Emanuela is a great cook and does all of the other household chores perfectly, which has been a great help and support for me. Since I don't spend time on household chores, I was able to spend more time studying FX trading and blogging about how to make money with FX trading. However, Nicholas and Julia does not like this fact. When Nicholas and Julia first moved into our apartment, they were very polite and thankful. But after 2 months of staying, they started asking me, what's the point of having a wife who stays at home and doesn't even do any of the household chores? She just sits in front of the computer all the time, and that's not work. Forex is gambling. They started to say such things like that. Of course, they don't say this directly to me, but they seem to be nagging Eric about it. Since Eric no longer has to pay rent or living expenses and can spend his entire salary at his own discretion, he has become more flamboyant in his clothing styles. He always only wears a custom-made suit nowadays. He only carries high-brand bags and wears high-brand shoes. My husband, who loves fashion, was able to spend money on fashion and seemed quite happy about it and had no complaint. So he was protecting me against my parents-in-law's complaints regarding the work of FX trading. But recently, Eric's attitude has changed. Hey, Amy, you're always just in front of the computer and you don't wear any makeup and only wear sweatshirts. Isn't that too plain, boring, and horrible? Do I really need to put on makeup and get dressed up when I am just staying at home, not going out? That may be fine for you, but it's not good enough for me. Wait a minute. What do you mean by not good enough for you? Are you saying that just because I am not dressing up, I am not good enough for you? That is right. Don't you ever want to dress up for me to be more attracted to you? Attracted to you? What are you talking about? I need to dress up for you to be attracted to me? Since that conversation, Eric, my husband, started complaining about me with Nicholas and Julia. One day after dinner, I was about to go to the bathroom when I heard this conversation coming from the living room. Amy, what is always up with her? She makes fun of us, doesn't she? She always makes us feel bad. That's right. That wife of yours is making fun of us. She thinks we're so poor because we were living in municipal housing. Yes, I feel that way too from her. And the fact that she doesn't do any of the household chores is her way of saying, I'm different from you. She is just gambling to make money. And she's just so bossy about it. Anyone can do FX trading. Even Amy just studied a little on her own and soon started earning $80,000 every month. I can do it too. You're right, Eric. You can do it too. I don't like how she's bossy and arrogant when she's just making money by gambling and not working hard for it. Anyone can do what she is doing. Anyways, she's not even cute at all. I always wonder who she thinks she is. I was working from home, but it was Eric and I's daily routine to have breakfast together before Eric left for work. Eric still works at the same company we used to work with, so he comes home pretty late. Therefore, we should have mutually valued having breakfast together as a time for the two of us, but my husband began to avoid it and would go to work without eating, saying, I'll just eat breakfast on the way. Seeing Eric in such manner, Julia said, Eric is getting tired of you because you don't even fulfill your duties as a wife. That's what you get, Amy. She said this sarcastically. What do you mean by duties as a wife, Julia? If you're talking about the household chores, hasn't Emanuela done it perfectly? Nowadays, what you so-called duties as a wife is so outdated. Outdated? We cherish the good old customs at our family. Your grandmother-in-law used to discipline me a lot. What do you mean by disciplined? Isn't it enough if the household chores are done without that? I'm paying her enough for it. Do you think this is about the money? Do you think that if you bring up the subject of money, I will shut up? Just because you are paying for all our living expenses all the time, you shouldn't be bossy and arrogant about it. Julia, who said this to me, seems to be spending a lot of money socializing with people her own age in the apartment building since they no longer have to pay for their own living expenses. And I sometimes see her going out with a number of expensive high-end brand bags that she seems to have bought. Nicholas also devotes all of his pension to his hobby of golf, and he seems to have bought new golf clubs and has a golf bag at his front door. I am the one who is covering and paying for the rent and all of their living expenses. What is up with these people? Even though I question them of their behavior and attitude towards me, my parents-in-law had nowhere else to live, so I just put up with them for now. About a month after Eric stopped eating breakfast with me, his number of going-away business trips have increased. Eric said that he was in charge of starting up the new department of the company. He was thinking of importing LEDs from Korea, and his business trips to Korea increased. That weekend, too, he went out on a business trip to Korea. Since my husband was away that weekend, I went out for dinner with Lily, a friend of mine from school, at a fancy Italian restaurant. I had been to this restaurant with Eric before, and there I saw Eric, who was supposed to be on a business trip to Korea. Lily and I were having lunch on the terrace, drinking wine in the afternoon, and in a good mood, when Lily said, "Hey, Amy, isn't that your husband, Eric?" When I turned around and looked inside the restaurant, I saw a woman and my husband leaving the restaurant. Oh, wait, maybe I have mistaken. That is not Eric, right? Because he is supposed to be on his business trip to Korea, right? Lily was trying to cheer me up, but it was obviously my husband, Eric. Every time Eric says that he was going on a business trip to Korea, which meant that he was spending the weekend with another woman. The woman who was with him was a petite, cute-looking woman who appeared to be in her early 20s, much younger than Eric, who is 37 years old. I see. Then I recalled that one time Eric said to me, "Don't you want me to be attracted to you?" I believe Eric says something like that. It seemed certain that my husband was definitely cheating on me. So the next day, Monday, I immediately requested an affair investigation by a professional investigator. Recently, I have been receiving more and more packages addressed to Julia at home as well. Julia, did you buy something again? Be quiet, Amy. Do I need your permission to buy anything? No, that's not what I am saying. Recently, Julia seems to be addicted to shopping on the internet, buying high-end brand bags and jewelries. I wondered and worried for Julia because there are many fake high-end brand bags which are sold on the internet. But then, I was right. During the day when Eric is gone for work, Julia came into the room where I am working and said, "Hey, Amy, I'd like you to take a look at something." "What is it?" "Just come here." I had no choice but to follow her. And there in the living room, she was opening a package that had just been delivered. I bought 5 bags. They were cheap as a bundle, so I bought them. When I opened the package, they seemed to be fake. Julia, you should be very careful of buying things on internet because there is a high chance that it might be fake, especially the high-end brand bags and jewelries. I wondered how much Julia had paid for the bags, even though they obviously looked fake and cheap. What should I do with these 5 bags? First, I think you should contact the place you bought it from and see if they have a return policy. After our conversation, Julia tried to contact the place where she bought it, but she couldn't find a phone number or any contact address, and when she finally found one, she tried calling it, but was informed that the number was not in use. For 5 fake bags, Julia has paid a total of $5,000. The mail order site was nicely done and did not look like a scam site at first glance. However, the high-end brand bags were listed at a very unreasonable low price. Julia paid for the bags by bank transfer, and there was no way to stop it with her credit card company, and the cooling off period policy was well stated as per the rules, so that she was not eligible for a cooling off period. Julia, you have to be careful for fakes when you're buying high-end brand goods on internet. If the price is unusually low, there is a high possibility that it is a fake, no matter what you think. You have to really think it through about buying it and not jump on it just because it's so cheap. Don't make it sound like I don't know what I was doing, Amy. No, it's not that. It's just, you just wasted money. It's a waste of money to pay $5,000 for a fake. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Since talking didn't seem to help, I went back to my room and continued working. After dinner on Sunday, Nicholas suddenly told me to stop doing FX trading. The previous Saturday, Nicholas went golfing with a friend from his former workplace, where he heard about Forex trading and said, "I heard that Forex trading is a scam." Amy, are you making money by scamming people? What? How to make money with FX trading. We will not let you lose your money. That's what they would say to scam out money, which I heard from my friend. I heard that what you're doing is also a scam, Amy. No, I'm not making or offering or luring people to invest in anything. I see you using social networking. I heard that's what scammer uses to scam people. No, I'm just doing a blog for people who are interested in Forex, and I'm trying to be helpful. There's no element of scamming at all. You think you can fool me as much as you want just because I don't know anything about computers at all. No, so I'm not fooling nor scamming you. Dad thinks that you are scamming because you make it look so easy for you to make the money, Amy. It's not easy money, Eric. I told you about this several times now. It's not that easy. You just studied it a little and then you're making a lot of money out of it. It must be easy. Meanwhile, I'm at work, busting my ass and working very hard to start the new department at the company. What? Eric, I thought you were supporting me with the FX trading. Do you want me to stop doing FX trading? If I do that, what will happen to the payments? We won't be able to even afford the rent. I can pay the rent myself. Since I'm the full-time FX trader, Eric and his family was able to live the lifestyle they are living right now. But my in-laws seemed not to be thankful of that fact and just complained and fussed about me being a FX trader. The next day, I received the results of the investigation regarding Eric's infidelity from the investigator which I previously hired. He was definitely cheating on me. My husband was having an affair with a 25-year-old woman who is 12 years younger than him. I had never met the other woman, as she was one of the co-workers at the company and had joined the company after I left. It seems that this other woman was on the several business trips to Korea with Eric. I had been contemplating for a few days after receiving the investigation results. How should I say this to Eric? This will mean a divorce. That same day, Emanuela came and cooked dinner for us, and just as she was leaving, Julia started to speak. Amy, I had a conversation with Nicholas, Eric, and I, just the three of us, and we don't like everything about you. We will just live on our own, and I want you to leave. Eric had not yet returned from work. We don't want to be supported by the money you made from your scams. I don't like the way you act like you know everything. We have talked this over with Eric and decided. Amy, I'm going to ask you to leave. I had a feeling that this was just the right thing to do. Fine then. The fact that my husband was not even here showed that he no longer had any feelings for me at all. And there was rather no reason for me to take care of these people's lives from the very beginning. I packed my bags that day and moved to a hotel for now. The divorce was finalized shortly after that. Since I had found out that my husband was cheating on me while our marriage, I was able to file him for alimony. I immediately rented a one-bedroom apartment that was suitable for one person and moved into it. I changed the name of the apartment lease where I lived with Eric's to him. One day, about 4 months later, I received a call from Eric, my husband. He said he wanted to talk to me. He said he would come to my current apartment to talk to me. As I was waiting, Nicholas and Julia also came with Eric. I had a very bad feeling about this. Amy, we are very sorry. We apologize for our horrible behavior to you. Please, live with us again. Eric said these words with apologetic manner. Nicholas and Julia saw Eric and hurriedly started apologizing also. What? What in the world? What is this? Eric, who was looking down, started to say, We can't afford to pay $40,000 rent and we are about to be evicted. Even if we get evicted, we have nowhere to go. We are in real trouble, so Amy, please help us. What on earth are you saying? Eric explained. Right after I left the apartment, Eric's new department of importing and selling LEDs, the imported special form of LED from a Korean manufacturer to be used in factories and hospitals, turned out to be defective product. The factory that delivered the LED lamps were informed by the customers that the socket part of the LED lamps had come off, and the bulb part was about to fall off, making the delivered LED very dangerous and unusable, and they had to be all recalled and returned. So, Eric contacted the Korean manufacturer, but since he didn't speak Korean well to begin with, he didn't know exactly what the contract was, and he couldn't return the products, resulting in a pile of defective inventory, and the new department was a total failure. Eric was fired from the company. Not smart of Eric to result in such way. Then Eric brought a computer from his small savings to become a full-time Forex trader, but he failed miserably by trading at high prices without even studying. In no time at all, his small savings ran out. Nicholas and Julia had some savings, but Nicholas tried to use it to invest in stocks to make some profit. But he failed badly because he tried to sell the stocks at the wrong time. Eric and his parents couldn't pay the rent and had no money to even move out of the apartment, so Eric came to me to beg and apologize. We are already divorced, Eric. Yes, I know, but help us, please. What happened to your pretty cute girlfriend who is 12 years younger than you? When I got fired from my job, I couldn't get in touch with her anymore. Yeah, why would someone go out with a guy who got fired from his job? Amy, you're all I have left, so let's get married again. Let's get remarried and have another chance with me. That's right, Amy. We realized that we were the one who was wrong. I am sorry, and this is from the bottom of our heart. Amy, I apologize for what has happened. I misunderstood you. I'm sorry for calling you a scammer without knowing what Forex trading is. I am very sorry. Amy, I am really sorry. So please, give me one more chance and let's start over. No way, Eric. Amy, don't say that. I'm sorry. I'll never cheat on you ever again. That's right, Amy. Eric will never cheat on you ever again. Yes, let's all be a family again and live together. No way in hell I would do such a thing. If you persist any longer, I will call the police on you. Eric and his parents were still trying to talk me in, but when I repeatedly said I would call the police, they finally left. I just cannot believe them. My ex-husband called me twice after that conversation to ask me to get back together with him, but I of course refused. I don't know what happened to Eric, Nicholas, and Julia. I don't even want to know anymore or care about them. But after being home alone all the time working as a trader, I began to think that it was time for me to start dating again. When I talked to my friend Lily about it, she said she would introduce me to someone. I am going to meet up with Lily and her guy friend tomorrow. I am very much looking forward to it and my new beginning.